Yeah.
It's what that god-awful Shannara show on MTV should have been. I love the Shannara series. I love the Shannara series by Terry Brooks. It was one of my favorite series of books.
As soon as you see something that's going to be on MTV, it's
Hold on a second. Teen Wolf was great.
No,
okay. Listen. Teen Wolf, Alpha Packs running around in high school. What don't you love about this?
Okay, name me another show from MTV.
Jersey Shore.
Hold on.
That's a piece of shit. Next.
Beavis and Butthead.
Yes.
How long ago was Beavis and Butthead?
Good one.
90s.
So they
Early
get it right once every 20 years? How are they still a network?
Listen,
how are you a network, MTV? Where's the music?
I can't even argue with
Where's the music?
The music's on MTV 32, I believe, in Bulgaria. If you tune into the Bulgarian MTV,
where's Anaya? Anaya? Where's the... I'm in disguise today. Ed has his hat. I have my scarf.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's do it. Cue the music. Welcome to the Sofa Kingdom Podcast 2022 edition with your host, Nelson.
Ed.
And I have to tell you guys something. And I did not prepare Eddie for this story at all.
Nor has he prepared me.
Bum rushing the both of them. We went on a vacation. We all went to Universal Studios and Ed lost the hat.
Yes. I did.
It was a sad day. I mean, like, he was trampling fucking employees of Universal Studios trying to find this hat. Like, sir, you can't go through the line. He's like, my fucking hat's over there. I'm going through the line. I don't care. This is for Fast Pass only. Fuck a Fast Pass. My hat is over there.
We have a new year and a new hat, Fred.
So it's not the same old hat. It's a new hat.
Yes.
Still
it looks exactly the same?
Still looks fantastic.
At first, I wasn't going to be able to get it, but I guess it was popular enough that they added it to their regular prints. So
look at that shit.
You know what? Ever since this podcast, I have actually been seeing those hats now, and I think I notice it now. I notice it.
It's like getting a car, right? Like, you don't notice Mustangs until you get it in a Mustang that you own, and then you're like,
everyone has a Mustang.
There's Mustangs everywhere. You know?
I never wore a hat until I had to shave my head, and then I burned the top of my head, and I went, oh, that's why I need a fucking hat.
It makes sense.
These tend to look the best.
Yeah.
I get
it.
There you go.
And now I do see them popping up everywhere lately. A couple people in Hollywood wore them, and then all of a sudden...
Yeah.
Between Thomas Shelby and Nelson or Edward Rosa, this is it. We're bringing it back.
That's right.
The newsboy cap is coming back.
Absolutely.
For this episode, we're going to tackle the best and worst of 2021. This is going to be our very late wrap-up edition of 2021.
The year as a whole.
That's right, yeah. We took a little break, and then we all got hit with a little COVID.
Literally, all three of us got it.
Stay tuned for those.
Yeah. So there's some stories to go along with that, and a lot of quarantine life. But we're back at it. So,
but don't worry, guys. I'm a healthcare worker, and there's plenty of variants coming down the pipe. Don't worry.
We are all going to learn the Greek alphabet.
Yeah. I just don't know why we needed penicillin shots from Ian. He's like, all right, guys, drop your pants, bend over. We got some penicillin.
I made it myself.
Homemade penicillin.
You guys are safe now.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't hear Fauci say anything about penicillin shots.
You guys are on that Joe Rogan thing. You're good. Don't worry. I got you. Poor Steve Wormer.
So let's jump right into the nitty gritty. Let's talk about things that we are newly engaged with. And I know, Ian, you got something that you've really found a liking to.
Oh, on Netflix?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. So now there's a show on Netflix. It's called Arcane. And originally, I did not give it the time of day. The reason I did not give it the time of day is because it says directly below the show, League of Legends, a League of Legends story.
Not a League of Legends player.
I did not play League of Legends. I mean, I have nothing against MOBAs. I have nothing. You know, Heroes of the Storm is a great game. Blah blah. But I just never played League of Legends. I know it was big in Korea. I know for a while it was the #1 game in the world. Everyone was into it. But I never gave it the time of day.
Yeah, so if you like your health, if you hate yourself, play League of Legends.
There you go.
It's a very common thing that people that play it for long enough, it's one of those games where you go back to because you could jump into quickly. But a lot of people that have played it for a long time, tend to hate the game, but still keep playing the game. It's very, very confusing.
And I hate myself, but I guess not enough. I never played League of Legends, but I watched. I'll admit, I watched a Critical Drinker review on the show. I follow his YouTube page, and he gave a whole review on the show, and he literally said that he's not even into this type of genre, but he was going as far to say it was one of the best shows he's seen in the last 10 years.
There are a
handful
of actual like anime reviewers I watch on YouTube, and they all had said the same thing. But there's also this consensus of it's anime stylistically,
yes,
but is it anime when it's not coming out of Japan?
Right.
And for them, they fall into the like, look, it's got the aesthetic, it's following along the same line.
Sure.
We'll call it. It's in the ballpark.
Right. Why hate? Why hate on that shit?
No,
You know what I mean?
no. And I looked up always Rotten Tomatoes everything, and it had 100% critic review. And had like a 98% user review. I was like, holy shit, is it really this good?
So the opposite of Space Jam.
Absolutely. But after watching it, and I'm a fan, I see pretty much everything that comes out on Netflix. I will go as far to say it could be, I'm not saying it is, because depending on what your opinion is, it could be the best show on Netflix.
Damn.
And this is an animated show. It's basically futuristic cyberpunk alternate world. It follows the tale of these two sisters that grow up in like this undercity where there's the people that live up high and they're doing well and they got the money. It's a nice existence. And there's the people that live in the undercity. Yeah. And it's such a dystopian future type view. And I didn't think I was going to get into it. I was
It's like a caste system.
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
And there's all kinds of like human augmentations and like magic plays a part, and there's alternate worlds and lands and things that you don't necessarily know about it because I never played League of Legends.
Sure.
But I still fell right in.
Yeah, like, for a MOBA, it does actually have a lot of backstory and lore.
And I didn't know that. And I literally was thrown into this, and I have not seen character development like this.
Okay.
Not in anything recently animated, not in anything anime I'm watching. I mean, I'm talking My Hero, Demon Slayer, all that. I haven't seen character development.
There's a lot of anime getting pumped out that's very mid.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not bad. It's not great.
As soon as
I'll watch it.
Yeah. No, as soon as I see it's in a high school, I'm done. I'm right. No, it's played out.
Most movies and TV shows that are being pumped out, it's
now,
in the middle.
Yeah, I'm 35. I'm 35. All my video games and anime can't be about high school. I can't do it. All right, it was a part of my life. I'm past
Can we at least put these characters in college?
Yes,
right.
There'll be a college anime, please. Where they got dorms. Let's do that.
Spice it up a little bit.
Let's change it up. Okay. But anyway, if you haven't seen it yet, take a look at it. It's I know it came out in 2021, and you may not know anything about League of Legends, and you may not think that you're gonna fall into like a show about two sisters and their relationship and stuff. But trust me, it's absolutely fantastic. The characters in it, you fall in love with it. You can't stop watching it, and I cannot wait. It got approved for 2 more seasons already.
Dang.
I cannot wait for the second season.
The complaints now are how long is it gonna take for the next season to come out?
Oh man, I cannot.
Just like Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. Well,
Everyone is
that. Okay, we can talk about that.
That's the worst. That's the worst.
We're doing best and worst of 2021. Holy shit! Did you miss the mark? Did you miss the fucking mark?
Cowboy Bebop.
How did we not think of that on the couch?
No, you're right. You know what it is? It's because it's the other worst, which I'm going to bring up right now, is fucking the Book of Boba Fett. Listen to me.
Okay, we'll touch on Boba Fett now. Since he's doing it, let's touch on Boba Fett.
All right, yeah, okay.
All right, fine.
This is going to be what I'm watching, okay? All right?
So I'm trying to give it a chance. I am trying to give it a chance.
I'm going to see it through. I'm going to see it through. It's like a fucking train wreck happening in my fucking face. In my goddamn living room, I sit down and I take a deep breath. I'm like, 45 minutes of bullshit. When I watch Mandalorian, I'm like, only 32 minutes? This show is amazing. This is cinematic masterpiece. This is what Star Wars is all about. Disney's finally doing it right. And then Book of Boba Fett, I'm like, bowl of hot shit. Get ready to eat it. This is disgusting.
So what is it? Is it do you just not like Samoan main characters? Is it the tanky
No, I love the Hawaiians. I'm a Hawaii 5-0 fan. Okay? The Rock. I wear all the Rock's clothing. I mean, like, I love the Hawaiian people. You know what I mean? I'm all about the Samoan culture. Even when I watch Hobbs and Shaw, and they had that whole fight scene where everybody's got guns except for the Samoans. I'm like, still believable. They're warriors. They're gonna fuck some shit up. They're gonna do.
They just need a club with some shark teeth on it. They're good.
That's it. They're good to go. They're Maoris warriors. But no, there's something about the direction stylistically that they've taken with the show. Something with the direction of the back storyline of Boba Fett that I'm genuinely not liking.
A lot of sand people.
Yes.
A lot
Here
of
is the greatest bounty hunter, right, to exist, is the whole premise of Boba Fett.
Yeah, most prolific by far.
Why are we not talking about that? Why are we not doing like Bucky style flashbacks when he was the Winter Soldier, murking motherfuckers, learning little lessons along the way?
There is an odd level of disrespect towards the fact that he's Boba Fett from everybody around him, which is very strange because he's supposed to be the baddest motherfucker around. Everybody's supposed to know who he is.
Right.
But everybody in that town where he was previously employed is like, meh.
Little fucking weasels are like, the mayor's not in. Guess you're gonna have to wait for a month to see him. I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to? This is Boba Fett. That's John Wick to you motherfuckers.
To quote Han Solo from Return of the Jedi, Boba Fett, where?
Yeah, I mean, come on, right? So here's this living legend that they're not doing justice. Now you take him in the future, and he's this geriatric warrior. He's basically a fucking cripple.
They brought the Power Rangers in.
Don't get me started about the motorcycles.
The Power Rangers Cyberpunk biker gang?
Who the fuck on Tatooine has candy paint?
They had designer
Where did
jackets.
this metallic paint come from? When did Coca-Cola move in with their fucking bottled fucking motorcycles?
Hey, American corporations, man, they'll get everywhere. They're on Tatooine.
Yeah.
They're on Tatooine.
Oh my God! What do you call they're basically riding around in Vespas, right? They're in Little Italy, not Tatooine anymore.
Essentially,
little Vespas.
I think they're supposed to be like a motorcycle gang.
Yeah.
Very
threatening.
I will admit,
threatening.
there is a lot of underwhelming elements about the show. I am literally trying to like it. I'm trying to like everything that Disney Plus tries to force down my throat. I'm trying to give Boba Fett a try. There's things that are saving it for me. Like I like that black mercenary Wookiee, the fucking giant.
That was dope.
Cool as
That
shit.
was fun.
That's cool as shit. And I like Rancor trainer Danny Trejo.
Yes.
I like that. When
Those-
Danny Trejo came up with a Rancor, I was like, yes, this is why I sat down.
And you know what? When you look at Danny Trejo, you're like, you know what? I bet that motherfucker has a Rancor in real
Probably
life.
does, you know?
He definitely has one.
Now,
you know?
I wasn't mad at the Tuskens and them actually giving them an actual story and a history because previous to that,
very Native American-esque, even with the train going through the territory.
yeah, like previous to that, they were basically just characters to be shot. They really didn't show them as even being like very sentient.
But
they were just there with sticks.
But here's where they're missing
You always
the
thought
mark.
they were assholes that just showed up and interfered with things.
But here's where they're missing the mark. Here's where they're missing the mark again. The village that he is being brought up to learn their warrior ways, they all get fucking murdered.
They get
Spoiler alert. They all get fucking murdered under his tutelage and his watch. So why
he disappears for 2 seconds? They all got murdered.
Right. So why would anyone in Tatooine be like, I'm afraid of him. He's known for protecting that one village that all got murdered in the middle of the desert by the real motorcycle gang.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not the Power Rangers.
Yeah, not the Power Rangers.
Who he hired because he didn't want to kill them about water prices.
There's things that I like. There's elements that I like, but there's a lot that I don't like. And the underutilization of his sidekick character, who is a badass.
Yeah.
So when you seen them in The Mandalorian, you're like, oh, this is a taste of things to come.
Fennec is a well done character.
Yeah. And she's a very lovable, hard to hate person.
Yeah.
In the realm of Marvel, Star Wars, anything that she's basically been in, she's always played that role. She's a badass. She sells it well, and you enjoy her in the role. And they're not utilizing her in the capacity that I think that they could be using.
Yeah. But I think here's part of it as well. They have the ability to film all of this, so they probably have it already all sitting canned. It's telling an entire story in one shot, but we're only going off of a piece of it. So just like how many people were angry at the first 3 episodes of WandaVision because they weren't understanding what was going on.
A lot of people turned it off before episode 3.
But we understand what's going on. We just don't like it.
Well,
There's no mystery that he is a fucking ancient man who needs a fucking a coffin to get in at the end of the night so that he can wake up in the morning to get his ass kicked. He's the new Bruce Willis. He's not. Okay, how about this? Best, craziest bounty hunter in all the land. You get surrounded by men with shields. You have a jetpack and you don't fly away.
There have been some issues.
That's not a veteran move, sir. That is a rookie mistake.
And he is carrying the rocket on his back, which at one point I'm like, just shoot the asshole in the car.
Right.
Just blow him up.
Right. Look, even Peacemaker said, I'm fighting Mothra. Get me a jetpack. Yeah.
He did.
Right?
He did.
Obi-Wan, take the high ground.
Yeah, you cannot win, Anakin.
Yeah, I am waiting for like the other shoe to drop and him to do something that justifies his choices thus far.
Kind of like a Clint Eastwood Unforgiven, like snap back.
Yeah, because he's trying very hard to take and work in the town through respect versus fear, which is something he made explicitly said. So I'm waiting for the part where he goes, okay, respect doesn't work. I will make you fear me. That's the part I'm waiting for.
So you're basically waiting for him to turn into Anakin Skywalker.
Order 66 up in this
whole village. Order 66 in this.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
All right. So we can talk about that all night. Ed, let's get into your...
Sure. You want to go with best, worst? What do we want
right,
Just throw something, either one.
Let's jump
either
right
one.
into it.
Let's throw something at us.
Pick something out, Eddie. What do you got? Best or worst?
Let's go positive since we just went from the...
All right, best of 2021. What you got?
All right, Spider-Man.
Ooh.
Fair. That's on my list too. Fair.
I think it's up there like top 6
Easily.
movies of all time or something like that. That's grossing movies.
It's starting
It's
to break
moving.
records at this point.
moving numbers.
It was so well done, and, it did so good in tying in.
Possible spoilers incoming.
3.
If you didn't watch it,
2.
tough shit. All the Spider-Man, fucking catch up. Let's go. The only thing that I wanted them to also have in there was to go really big with multiple Spider-Man. Have Spider-Gwen. Go like it was Spider-Verse.
Miles
Spider-Pig?
Morales. That was the
Spider-Pig?
time to bring in Miles
It was the time to
Morales.
bring in
Yeah,
Miles Morales.
they easily could have brought in and had Gwen in there, and they could have easily brought in and picked someone to play Miles Morales. I mean, I'm not mad at what they did. I really enjoyed the movie.
So
I loved it. I loved it.
That is the small, tiny little piece of critique that I think I could give the movie of like, I kind of wanted more Spider-Man in there.
Yeah, no, it was great. My biggest glow up was Jamie Foxx. He came back from like, who the fuck is that guy to like, this is the Jamie Foxx that I know that sells fucking R&B and rap songs, and I liked him better. Yeah. I like that they brought it up, and he's just like, oh, I'm in this multiverse, and this is me, bitches. I like me here. You know what I mean?
It is a massive continuity error, but they were just like, shit happens.
Everybody liked it. Everybody liked it. They're like, just go with it.
Jamie Foxx kind of even alluded to Miles Morales a little bit, though, in that one comment he said.
He did.
Yeah.
He's like, you helped a lot of people in Queens. He's like, I thought you were black. So
I thought it was great, too. I loved everything about it. If you had to pick, after watching that, who is your favorite Spider-Man now?
For years, it was Tobey. For years, it was, even up through Garfield into Tom Holland, it was still Tobey Maguire for me. It didn't, the magic of the first movie into the second movie with Doc Ock and everything wasn't replaced.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, grant, there was a big shit fire with Venom in the third movie.
Yeah.
But I think now I'm going to say Tom Holland's my Spider-Man. I think that movie did enough.
That's what's up.
I think it did
And
enough.
they did a tremendous job redeeming Andrew Garfield
Yes.
as Spider-Man.
Spoiler alert, when he caught Mary Jane.
Yes.
Listen.
That did so much for him. That
After
did so much.
After watching that movie, Andrew Garfield's my new favorite Spider-Man. He was clever. He was funny. Like, and I'm ignoring the past 2 movies.
you have to. You kind of have to.
Right? But I'm like, when I seen that, I was like, that's the Spider-Man he could have been with better writing.
Yes.
And a better storyline. So I'm like, you know what? They redeemed him and they redeemed Jamie Foxx in a really big way. And I enjoyed him enough that I'm like, hey, you know what? If you want to just do a complete spin-off Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, I'm down.
Yeah, there's little rumors of him being that Venom's in his universe or Venom's in Toby's universe, and that they'll do another movie.
I'm with it. So he finally gets to fight an alien. Yeah. he's like, I'm so lame. He's like, you guys fought aliens? I want to fight an alien.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. All right, I like that. So that was a best of pick.
Yeah, definitely a best of.
What about you? Let's jump into a worst for you.
Okay. Well, worst. I mean, worst. There's a bunch of worsts I have. I mean, a worst. I think I'm gonna go with. All right. I think I'm gonna go with worst though, and worst. I gave it an honest try. I don't know how the hell it happened. I mean, I guess I know how it happened with the way Hollywood is, but I'm gonna go with the Matrix regurgitations. I mean, Matrix Resurrections. I'm sorry, I mispronounced.
Yeah, it does leave a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, yeah. I can only guess that Keanu Reeves owed somebody a favor. And he was like, yeah, I'll do this for you. I mean, because I know Lawrence Fishburne wasn't anywhere the fuck around.
He probably read the script.
He took a look at that script. He said, fuck no, you can bring in a different Morpheus.
Yeah. I think even Lana Wachowski hinted at part of why the movie was done when she had Keanu's character, Neo, talking with the board and like, we're going to make this with or without you.
Right.
So get on board. So I think plausibly there was a little bit of, we're going to make this movie with or without you. So you can try to keep it within the family of movies you've created.
Right.
Or we're just going to fucking do it anyway.
So he got strong-armed into it.
Probably.
It missed.
She.
What? Yeah. Don't get me started on that. We'll just say Wachowski.
Rolling right through that one.
Yeah, we're going to just roll right through that. The movie's a pile of shit. The movie starts out with basically a rehashed, cheaper version of the way the original movie started out.
Right.
With actors you don't know, with action that is not as good as the first movie from the 90s. Right. And it literally, I mean, this movie even reuses old footage from the original. It's like almost a parody of itself. And I don't know what type of message it was trying to send, but it fucking missed the mark.
Yeah, it failed in every single category. I think even the action. I mean, look, Keanu Reeves. I'm Keanu Reeves.
Right. I was like,
don't you do anything else but shields?
We've done this already. We've done the bullet time. We've done the fighting simulation room.
Yep.
We've done they literally redid. We've done the waking up in the fucking tank with the machine. We've already been here. I mean, I don't know what the goal was. But you fucked up. I mean, as a fan of sci-fi and a fan of the Matrix, like I didn't get any nostalgia.
Right.
I didn't get excited for the franchise again. I mean, if anything, I don't know what you did.
The only reason why I watched it after hearing some of the reviews was because I had COVID and I had nothing else to do but watch TV and movies, and I did not enjoy it.
I almost felt like there's more story than what they put on the screen.
Sure.
Like the movie was deliberately designed to be a piece of a multiple movie set, whereas the first Matrix I don't think it was intended to be a trilogy. It was a standalone movie that was good enough that became a trilogy. So I think part of the problem is that this movie is designed to be a trilogy.
What if she?
To me, it seemed like Lana didn't want anyone to play with her toy anymore, so she broke it.
Right, exactly.
And she broke it in front of our eyes.
Yep.
I mean, that was the equivalent of saying, "I'm going to get you a dog for Christmas," and I opened up my present, and there was a dead fucking raccoon in there. I mean, that's what happened. That's what happened. I watched it. I tried to give it a chance.
And how are you going to take the one and then not make him the one?
No, anymore? Now there's two ones, and one of them is Trinity. And somehow their
see, if you go back to the original movie, you have to remember the Oracle told you what you needed to hear. Wasn't necessarily the truth. And even back in the first one, Neo had the gift. He had the plausibility of being the one, but he needed the spark. And she was the spark.
Okay, but then why did he lose his abilities?
And even then, well, you also have the fact that his whole body was destroyed and then rebuilt multiple times by the machines.
Even Elron, Agent Smith wasn't even a part of this.
But he's still in the Matrix.
That is, it's not just him being in the Matrix. It's also a genetic thing, which is why in the Matrix he has certain abilities. So you also have the fact that the way they even originally set it up, he could be, but he's not necessarily the one. And they basically, with this movie, expanded on it, being that it wasn't even necessarily that he believed he was the one. It was because she believed he was the one. So then you have the plausibility of, is she the one that grants powers and he has them? Or does he have them because she grants powers? And now does she have powers because he had powers and granted her powers? Or does she have powers because their bodies were rebuilt and they were using Neo's body as the blueprint to give her a body also?
See, this is the part of the
And you lost me.
this is the part of the anime where everybody starts transforming and I turn it the fuck off. That's what happens. Exactly. I've seen this before.
Look, Neo's the one. That's it.
So it opens up a lot of weird philosophical debate on who's the one versus who's imparting the powers and all of that kind of stuff.
I get
all
it.
I know is Lana Wachowski is not the one. And, and we it was you missed the mark.
Is the resurrection.
That's going on the worst movie I saw.
Well, you also have to remember originally it was the two Wachowskis together that did the first movie. So perhaps there is a piece of like sibling rivalry of that piece doesn't work with the story. We need to do
Well,
this.
at this point,
artistically that was missing.
At this point, I think we should see the other siblings' point of view because this is not it. I don't know what the fuck that was.
Yeah, we need to see the Snyder cut.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
now.
No disrespect, Lana, but I know where the creativity in that fucking family was. Sorry, it's not you.
All right.
So
we're
back to you now.
Well, I'm gonna jump into it. I'm gonna be a positive.
That's good.
Force.
That's what we'll do. We'll just keep going positive, negative until
we'll wrap it. Okay, all right. So I will go with a best of, and this is going to be one of my favorites because there was quite a bit of really good standout shows, games, movies. But I really liked Dune. I think Dune
was excellent.
I liked Dune
excellent.
Too.
The story left me wanting more. They left it off in an area of the movie where you're like, oh man, this is just one long prequel to the next movie. It left it like, hey, things got resolved, but other things got opened.
And they only went...
And it's fantastic.
They only went like 250, maybe 250 pages into the first book. Because oddly enough, I did read some of the book, and it ended up being the portion
Frank Herbert, right?
that they made the movie. It's one of those. It can feel like a slog of a read.
Right.
So like I did actually a while ago start reading it. So it was nice to see what he had put on the page on screen, and then it didn't go any farther than I had actually got. So I'm like, well, I mean, if I read the next third of the book, that'll be movie 2 at the pace they're going.
No, but I liked it cinematically. I thought the actors, the actresses were really well done.
I thought they did a lot with it. It gave you the feel of a science fiction epic that I haven't seen.
Well, I mean, everybody did a lot except for what's her name, Zendaya, who they had her all over the promo, and all she did in the movie was this.
That's right. Hey,
look,
HBO.
That was her whole shit.
That's all she had to do.
If you ask me, and I don't want to be a negative Nelly, but most overrated actress of 2021, Zendaya. Come on, man, get the fuck out of here.
Hey, she's Mary Jane, man.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. All right, Eddie, let's go into another category. Let's try something that was surprisingly bad for you.
Surprisingly bad. Ooh, this is something we've already talked about before.
Book of Boba Fett.
No. This was Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance.
Oh wow.
That real piece of shit of a game.
We've come full circle.
Yes, we do.
It was definitely the worst game I've played all year. And because of Game Pass, which was surprisingly excellent, I played a lot more games than what I normally would, but Dark Alliance was such a tremendous letdown.
Yeah.
Like I said, you couldn't even finish the first level.
Is that the one that glitched out and you killed
multiple
the bot?
times?
Yeah.
It glitched out multiple times. I couldn't even get through the first level because every time I would get twice it was midway point, once it was at the end at the boss. It was just a complete shit show.
So you would match that up against, because I know there's another video game that was a pile of shit in 2021 by a certain CD Projekt Red.
Ooh.
They created a wonderful game in The Witcher 3. However, they also created...
Oh, yeah, Cyberpunk 2077. See, now Cyberpunk is my worst of the year, but I knew it was going to be bad.
I dodged that bullet. I dodged that bullet and waited for people to play it.
I was surprised Dark Alliance was bad. Cyberpunk 2077, I knew it was going to be bad when it first launches at the very least, because CD Projekt Red the initial launch of all their games is a shit show. They have a design style where they build the games where everybody's essentially on a free for all, and then hopefully during crunch, which is something that's very looked down upon in the gaming industry, they put it all together at the end. They put it out, and then they spend usually about a year fixing it. That's literally what they did with
Such
Witcher.
a bad business model.
So at the end of the first year of
The
Witcher 3,
The Witcher had some glitches in it though.
it was a phenomenal game by the end of
Yeah.
the first year because they
Yeah.
fixed all of the problems. They put out the DLC they said they were going to.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk was being rushed to get put out because of the people that back it.
Right.
So at a certain point, they want their money back. So whether the game was done or not, they were forcing them to put the game out. And they knew the game was going to be bad.
You know, I don't understand why the industries don't take a page from like Bethesda games where like, yeah, you'll get a Skyrim every 30 years. But when the game comes out, it's a masterpiece and people play it forever.
Yeah, Todd
Yes.
Howard doesn't put anything out unless it's like done.
Yeah,
There's something to be said about doing, hey, you guys want a game? It's done, and we'll add things to it. But that model of adding to fix it as you're playing it is kind of shit.
It's not a surprise when open world games have bugs. They almost always do because the size of the game, it's hard to play test and find every little thing.
Final Fantasy 15 sucked.
But 2077,
That fucking sucked.
Go fish.
not only did they know
That's how I
it was
solved it.
bad, there was a video trailer that people caught a hold of that was going around through the office, and the trailer was all the things that needed to be fixed. So people data mined and managed to find some of the things that the people testing the game had put together to give to the people to correct before it hit street, and they didn't fix almost any of that stuff before it hit street. But it became the type of thing where you know it was going to be a problem, but it was such a shit show of a game, and it still, for the most part, is. You definitely can't play it on the older consoles. You can try to play it on the newer consoles. There's still some patching that they're doing. If you have a really high-end PC, that's really your only way of playing the game and not having a complete terrible time.
Right.
Now, I did buy a copy when it came down to $10 for the actual physical game.
Hold on. Cyberpunk is Keanu Reeves?
He's in there.
He's
Yeah.
in
So
there.
that's 2 on the list for Keanu Reeves of shit shows.
Well, he can turn it around John
and
Wick.
we love Keanu
The
Reeves.
nicest man
no
in
hating on the
Hollywood.
man.
Yes.
No hating on the man.
Yeah.
But they are definitely taking his IP
Oh yeah.
and dragging it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's one of the things where usually they eventually fix their games. So when I saw it down at $10, I picked up a copy. I'll wait for them to drop the Series X update, and then I'll jump onto the game. Because they did enough updating that the PC version of the game is now getting good reviews.
Okay.
So eventually they usually fix it, but it's really starting to make them look bad when this was such a big production game for them, and this was supposed to be something really groundbreaking in terms of what they were trying to do with open world games, but they managed to do almost none of the stuff on the list that they were promising for the game. And it's even though it looks in many ways next gen, a lot of the way some of it plays is older style. Like there's other games that have come out in the interim that have much more dynamic in the way of like the police system works and the story and the upgrading and all that. So like they call it an RPG. A lot of people are like, it's more like an action game because the RPG elements are kind of shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And they just don't really affect the story in a meaningful way.
Yeah,
Okay.
I heard it was overwhelmingly bad, and that was the general consensus from everyone I knew that played it.
Honestly, this year I replayed Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 and Skyrim. I went back into the crates of the goodies because I didn't want to get disappointed. And I was like, if I'm going to invest my time, these are games that I loved, tried and true.
You
and
Western
I'm waiting-
RPG'd it up.
Yeah, I did. I'm waiting for something to really hit the market where I'm going to be like, that's going to be the shit. Because I haven't even jumped onto Halo yet. And I think that's something I'm going to jump into next.
I played a little bit of Halo, but I'm currently playing Witcher 3. I watched season 2 and I was like, I kind of want more of the world.
What's fucked up is I was in the same boat. I was like, I kind of want to start playing The Witcher again.
Right?
It was that good.
It's a fucking good ass
It was that
game,
good,
right?
yeah. I haven't even thought about the PS5 yet because I'm waiting for 3 fucking things. And if those 3 things don't line up, if I don't see Dragon Quest 12, if I don't see Final Fantasy 16, and I don't see Persona 6,
Now,
I ain't buying a PS5.
I thought you were going to say, like, I'm waiting for 3 things. Games.
A console.
And games.
And the ability to buy the console.
Yeah. I need a console to buy. Games to buy.
Now, PlayStation is...
God damn it.
I would like a console that has, I don't know, games. I'm just saying.
You won't be laughing forever.
We'll at least be laughing into the foreseeable future.
Into the foreseeable future, yeah.
All right,
There's nothing I can do about
let's
that.
jump into Ian. What has come to you? Did what? Surprisingly bad?
Yeah.
Surprisingly good.
Well, to touch off what he was just starting to talk about, The Witcher Season 2. Witcher Season 2 was fantastic.
Yep.
Whereas The Witcher Season 1 kind of jumped around. It delved into the short stories of some of the first
book.
books.
Correct.
And people complained about the first season saying, oh, it's hard for us to follow.
Right.
The Witcher Season 2
All the
was
dum-dums
more-
can't keep up.
They can't keep up. Yeah. Follow the colors. Follow the colors. But no. But The Witcher Season 2 was more linear. It told a more focused story.
Yes. Sure.
The characters were really well developed. I mean, there were some differences. There were some differences from the books and some things I won't...
There's always going to be.
I won't throw any spoilers out there, but there are some things that are going to throw you for a loop.
Right.
However, I think they fixed a lot of the problems. Like, the one thing I like is they made Trish Marigold. They made her look more like the
character.
red flowing hair.
Yes.
They fixed that a little bit. I know they heard the outcry of the fans on that. Siri seems more grown up now.
Yes,
Siri seems like she's coming into her own. She's kind
Right.
of trying to understand her
and
powers.
they started showing the determination and the spirit that she has that makes her a formidable warrior later on
Yeah.
down the line.
And they develop more of Nilfgaard. They touch on
Yes.
the Wild Hunt. They build up your interest in the show.
Yeah.
And I've heard rumors and stuff that Henry Cavill is not going to be a part of it in the future, and I really hope that's bullshit.
Yeah, I think
really
that's
hope
full of shit.
That's
because
got to be.
Everything I've been
He
reading
is
about
the Witcher.
Henry Cavill is that he wants to be a part of those IPs. He wants to be a part of the Superman if it's done right. He wants to be a part of The Witcher if it's done right.
Yeah.
So I can't see him walking away from something so
He
successful.
he went out and petitioned to be on the show when they announced
Yeah.
it. So he didn't wait for them to put
They
out
were-
a casting
they
call.
were-
He's like, no, I want that role.
Yeah.
And
and he was the man for the role.
Yeah,
I
he's-
can't see the show
He's a
without
huge nerd
he's
with The
huge
Witcher.
into
He's
the
read
books.
all the books.
Yeah,
He's beaten the
huge
game.
into the game, and it's even been pointed out on set a handful of times where when they're breaking continuity. He's like, no. That's not what happens.
I think he would
This
say
is
this.
the way it's supposed to happen. We need to.
Yeah.
We
I think Geralt would say this. He's even improvised some lines there. But to piggyback off The Witcher, since it's a fantasy genre, I think another fantasy show popped up in 2021, and it was done right. And this is The Wheel of Time. The Wheel of Time on
so
Amazon
good.
is a very good show. It is.
It is.
It's a fantasy series. I believe it was written by Robert Jordan. I always get Robert Jordan and Robert Howard. One of them wrote Conan. One of them wrote The Wheel of Time. But anyway, The Wheel of Time is like almost 20 books long.
Yeah.
It's been going on for all these years. It tells a fantastic story that I feel like the creators of this show are actually dumping enough production and money and character development into it.
Yeah.
It's what that god-awful Shannara show on MTV should have been. I love the Shannara
God,
series.
yeah.
I love the Shannara series
Listen,
by Terry
yeah.
Brooks. It was one of my favorite series of
as
books.
soon as you see something that's going to be on MTV, it's
They turn-
Hold on a
Hold
second.
on.
Teen Wolf was great.
No, they
Okay, listen. Teen Wolf, Alpha Packs running around
Rare-
in high school.
Oh,
What
rare-
don't you love about this?
Okay, name me another show from MTV.
Jersey Shore.
Hold on.
That's a piece of shit. Next.
Beavis and Butthead.
Yes.
How long ago was Beavis and Butthead?
Good one.
90s.
So they
Early
they
90s.
get it right once every 20 years? How are they still a network?
Listen,
how are you a network, MTV?
I can't
Where's
even
the
argue.
music?
I can't even argue with
Where's the music?
the music's
Oh,
on
shit.
MTV
Oh, shit.
32, I believe, in Bulgaria. If you tune
Bulgaria?
into the Bulgarian MTV, you get...
Where's Anea at? Anea? Where's the... Jesus.
No, look,
Oh my
you know
God.
what? To be fair, actually, Teen Wolf wasn't half bad.
I enjoyed Teen Wolf.
There was just
There was some lulls.
teen
There
drama
was some
kind
lulls
of deal.
in there.
Yeah.
But the Wheel of Time is good. It is really
It is
good.
good.
It's what Shannara should have been. It's telling a good classic fantasy story
Yes.
with good characters. I mean, the enemies in it, the Trollocs, are well done. They're
Yeah.
actually horrifying.
Yeah.
The bad guys intimidating. There's a lot of good things about the show.
Yeah.
And if you're a fan of fantasy, especially the old books that
Yeah.
they're hard to find anymore, that's for you.
That's some good
definitely.
shit.
I mean,
I liked
nowadays, if you're looking for anything fantasy, you got to go to HBO. You got to go to Amazon. You got to go to Netflix. Nothing on the standard cable channels. They're not putting in the budget for the shows.
You
to
can
really
skip
do it
Hulu.
right. I mean, name me a fantasy show on Hulu. Exactly.
Listen, they do. Look, they do have.
Ed's shitting on everybody today. Fuck Hulu. Fuck MTV.
They
Look,
do have.
Hulu's got great shows, but it's all network shows.
They do
Right.
have. It's Always
So-
Sunny in Philadelphia.
Again, it's
fair.
a network show.
That's a fantastic
That's a
show.
show that's written by those actors. They deliberately take pay cuts to stay in control.
There you go.
It's funny people being allowed to do funny.
Yeah,
And when
no,
you do that, wow, it fucking works.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you
Who would have guessed?
Yeah, but
everybody's hands in the pot. You know,
If you remove
yeah.
the pencil pushers, the funny guys are funny.
Yeah, but
All right.
for quality live action fantasy sword and sorcery, you can't go wrong with The Witcher on Netflix, and
Correct.
you can't go wrong with The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime.
two solid picks.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna jump into surprisingly bad. Coming to America 2. Coming to America, to me, when I was growing up, was one of the funniest movies I've seen.
Eddie Murphy, James Earl
Eddie
Jones.
Murphy,
Yep.
the whole premise, the whole fake McDonald's.
Was Arsenio Hall in that?
Arsenio
Arsenio
Hall
Hall.
was in it. Eddie Murphy. I mean, James Earl Jones.
Yep.
So many fantastic, iconic actors, actresses. The roles were done. I believe. Who's oh man, the fat white dude. With the weird voice, Louis Anderson.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, he's great. Like, I think he came off of that and went to like a successful comedy and cartoons. He
yeah,
did,
he
I
had some
believe.
cartoons.
I didn't see Coming to America 2, but I heard the reviews. I just saw the reviews that were
They
not
took
good.
the premise of the first movie and shit the bed.
Yeah,
all over the
mean,
part
there
two.
was
And
some
there were some moments.
There were some moments on part 2 that were really well done.
and they were all by Wesley Snipes.
But there was some, there was some parts in it that was just like, oh, can we get to the next scene, please?
Oh man.
there was just a lot of.
So they kind
just-
of they kind of phoned in and cashed in on like a classic and just tried to
To,
rope in
to
what they
some
could.
extent.
Yeah, because they try to tell a different story, and you want to move the things along, but the story wasn't compelling. I didn't feel the same like heartfelt like when you were there watching Eddie Murphy, you were like, he was naive in such a funny way.
So
it was believable.
It was
Yeah.
like Anchorman 2 or Hangover 2.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah. But Wesley Snipes killed it.
Did he?
Every time he walked into the room with his like militia,
Yes.
with machine guns and machetes,
He was
dancing. And I was like, yeah, Wesley, get it. He was fucking hilarious. He actually saved the movie, a lot of it comedically. Eddie Murphy didn't deliver as much to me in this movie comedically.
But he also wasn't in the movie as much. Even though it was Coming to America Part 2, it really did center more around his son and his kind of bit of the story. And it wasn't that he was a bad actor. It almost felt like there was two movies.
Yeah.
You had a comedy in one portion, and then you had kind of a bit of a heartfelt journey of this new character trying to prove himself.
Comedy and heartfelt usually doesn't go well together.
Yeah, it was. It
It's
just
a hard thing to marry.
I went into it like this is gonna be hilarious. There were moments that were good. I'm not gonna say it was terrible, but it was surprisingly bad considering the cast.
Considering the first one. I think the
And
problem
considering
is
the first one.
trying to live up to what the first one was.
Big
is
shoes to follow.
Huge
Yeah,
shoes to
I agree.
follow.
If you would have called it something else and I watched it, I probably wouldn't have been as disappointed.
Which
Yes.
is why Cowboy Bebop died.
right.
Yeah.
You fucking you set impossible shoes.
It's never
It-
gonna come back.
Impossible standard.
died so fast, I didn't even get a chance to watch it before the canceled came rolling around.
Oh, it was amazing how quick it died because it like it's like the writers on it. It's almost like they never watched the anime.
But just your explanation,
Yeah.
the explanation you gave with the first episode, where they took the poor character because doing the only thing she could do to get out of a bad situation and turning her to a rich heiress. I'm like, that removes the whole heart of the first episode.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, they pretty much turned the first episode into the opening of the movie for Cowboy Bebop. They like they tried to rehash it, and like the action to me the actions. I did a lot of research on it, trying to find out why it was canceled.
Yeah,
because there was all kinds of stuff. Like a lot of fans of the live action that were trying to get into it were like, "Oh, the anime fans killed it." Well, that's because the fucking show is an anime, and we grew up with it. Like we watched it, and like. They said, oh, the character that played, the guy from Harold and Kumar, the guy that plays Spike, he had an ACL tear or something leading up to the movie. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to fault him for being injured. Then bring in a stunt double.
Yeah.
Don't have him do the fucking action scenes.
Right.
Yeah,
because it looked forced and fake, and that's not the, like Spike, when he fought, he put people the fuck down.
People got to realize
he was a very smooth fighter in the end.
Netflix
and that shit looked
knows
forced.
how long to the second people watch the show. So from actually what I understand, people watched like the first episode, but then didn't finish watching the series.
Yeah.
Right.
So they watched the first one, and if you have a ton of anime fans and they see the first episode and they see what they did to the first episode compared to the first episode, the anime, they immediately went, we've got 20 other
shows to watch
to watch that are new in anime that just came out this season on Crunchy. We're gonna go see that.
It was
first.
it was Dune from the start. I know when the backlash started happening, the actress that played Faye Valentine, she like released a video saying how like, oh, I'm sorry, my body specifications aren't up to the, and I was like, oh shit, like. They just,
like you lost that battle already.
The writers started blaming the anime fans, saying that they missed the concept of the plot, and I was like, God damn! I was like, you guys are just pointing the finger at everyone but yourself.
That's like telling a joke, nobody laughs, and then you're like, all right, let me explain it to you idiots.
Yeah,
who don't understand my comedic genius.
That will fucking work really well.
That's gonna go over all the time.
Yeah,
perfect. Yes.
So I mean, the only thing I'll say positive about the Cowboy Bebop show is the guy that played the Bushmaster in the second scene of Luke Cage, the guy that plays Jet Black.
Yeah.
He nailed it. His voice, his mannerisms. I was like, okay, that guy did it. That guy, the guy that played Jet Black, you did a fucking good job.
We got one.
Yes, you are the only shining light on the mountain of shit that was that show. So don't feel bad. You did good.
I mean, it's another.
You still cool in my book.
It's another anime adaptation in the whole history of anime adaptations. They just don't cut it.
They don't add up.
Yeah, and there's animes you might be able to try to recreate, but that's not one.
Yeah,
a one season 20-something episode masterpiece like Cowboy Bebop, you leave it the fuck alone. Yeah. You leave it alone.
I agree. You don't. Now they do say, a lot of fans of Cowboy Bebop say that the best way to see a live action version of Cowboy Bebop,
you son of a bitch,
would be to watch.
Don't you say, son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
You know how to slip that bitch in.
Yeah, the best part
First
about
episode of 2022.
Yeah, the biggest thing I'm excited about,
bitches.
The biggest thing I'm excited about in 2022 is to have to wait to 2023 to tell you I still haven't watched it.
We're gonna figure out a contest in which it's rigged that I can win to force Ian to watch Firefly. All right, gentlemen, we're going to jump into the last category of the podcast, which is what you are most excited for. So we'll end on a positive note.
Yep.
You know, I won't bring up the shittiness that Space Jam was.
No, we can leave that behind.
I won't talk about how shitty Sweet Girl was.
No.
And the fucking plot line that was garbage.
Or Black Widow. We won't talk about that either.
I liked Black Widow.
Oh,
I can watch. Come on.
What?
I can watch.
What?
Scarlett Johansson sewing for an hour. I don't care.
Okay, all right.
Listen,
yes, all right.
It wasn't that bad. It had some shining moments to it. Okay, all right. Before we jump into the last category, all right, Black Widow or Eternals, which was better?
Eternals was better.
Yeah?
Eternals was better. Now, I think the only reason Eternals got so much flack was because it wasn't a traditional Marvel film. It didn't have the comedy. It was longer. It was like we know what's happening. We understand what is to come.
Yeah, because it's intended to set up the next phase.
So the Eternals was laying the foundation of a house, and it was a beautiful foundation.
Yes.
For people that know what the fuck is coming next,
Yeah.
the Eternals was what we wanted. It was set up this big, and we know that the house, we see the foundation, it's going to be beautiful. But everyone that doesn't know, the dum-dums, they look at it and go, well, I ain't a fucking house. And then they get angry because all they see is the beautiful foundation that's there. And they're like, well, where's the jacuzzi? And like, so it wasn't.
Who doesn't like a jacuzzi?
You're right. It wasn't Thor Ragnarok. It wasn't No Way Home. It's not what it was. It was a different type of film.
They're setting the tone for a more mature.
So the Eternals got some backlash there.
Yeah.
Set up, but I didn't hate
But it was
Black
still
Widow.
it was still more coherent and had better
That's-
action scenes than fucking Black Widow.
No way. Better action scenes than Black Widow? Get out of here.
Oh, we're falling out of a
What
plane
do you
now. Didn't you die on a foreign planet because
Are you saying you hate Russians? Because you didn't like the Russian Captain America?
Actually, I do hate Russia.
I will give you that the movie was so far out of time based on where we were in the timeline.
Right.
But it was one of those they by the time they got the script together for the movie,
And then the lawsuit.
it was too late to put the movie because of where they were already going and they were ending that phase.
Yeah.
So it did end up getting put out of place. If anything, I would say
did.
that's a gripe is that it wasn't done in time when it should have been
And also,
done.
COVID did push it back some.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? It
Well,
did, because
if your goal, Disney, was to make me forget about that character, congratulations. Natasha, who?
Well, she signed on to do more work with Marvel.
but
Hey,
as a
her-
director,
and
as a
Disney.
director.
Her younger sister's
Yeah.
hotter anyway. So
Yeah. No, I
Bring her on the
like
next season.
and I like the new Black Widow, her sister. I think she's a dope character.
Me too.
And they open the door to just keep killing them up and bringing in new ones by showing you how many other Black Widows there are out there.
I'm feeling it.
let's do it.
All right, let's jump into it. Eddie, what is your most anticipated
Thing
thingamajiggy
of 2022.
2022?
PlayStation VR 2.
Wait a
wow.
second.
What?
Are you jumping sides?
No, I always play both consoles.
Let the hate flow through you.
It's like, come to the dark side. We have cookies. No games.
Like,
but we have cookies.
Elder Snoke over here.
I generally
Yes.
will pick one console that I buy at the beginning of the generation.
Right.
And then halfway through, I'll get the other one, and then I can play all the old games I didn't get to play yet on the
Okay.
cheap.
Yeah.
But
Good strategy.
PlayStation VR 2, I am waiting for because I want someone other than fucking Facebook to do something with VR. Because I like what the Oculus 2 looks like.
Yeah.
I don't like Facebook.
Right.
You mean Meta?
Meta. Yeah, the verse. You don't want to be a part of the metaverse?
Facebook. Now they did do some things where they may actually make them sell some of their companies. So maybe Oculus will become Oculus again.
I think they see the writing on
But-
the wall, and they know that if they can separate, it would probably bring more users.
Well, they're trying to design the company in a way where they can't separate. them.
'cause
That's what they're trying to do.
we said these keywords, and
But-
now Zuckerberg's watching us. Fucking lizard man.
Anyway,
listen, man, Zuckerberg's everywhere you go.
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
Listen, he's there.
but the PlayStation
Take me
VR
out, Zuck.
2, they're doing a lot of upgrading to what the headset was, some better refresh rate, and the console itself is a much more powerful console, which will lend to less issues with people having nausea and things like that. So they're doing a lot to move it forward in the way they need to in terms of even what they're looking to do with the headset is better than what you would get normally right now.
Will you
So-
actually be able to purchase it? Find it in stores.
Well, the problem
That's
will
the
be
next thing.
purchasing a PlayStation in general because everything is still
Gone.
on shortage. Good luck
Right.
getting most anything. But at least with what they're looking to do with it and the specs that they've released so far, it looks excellent. And the first one looked great, but there really wasn't all that much to play on the console in general. There was a handful of games.
Are you saying PlayStation doesn't have games?
they
play on their console?
The first VR headset.
Interesting choice.
Their first
I know.
VR headset didn't have.
And I
all that
tried
many
liking
games.
it. Actually, I bought a whole setup of VR shit, games, the whole nine. The only problem I had with it was that I kept getting nauseous.
Yeah.
I kept getting sick. So it was like 15 minutes of gameplay, and I tried all the tricks. The fan, squirting water in my face, taking ginger extract, drinking ginger ale like while I'm playing, like intravenously putting ginger into my fucking blood, and I still got nauseous. So it was like 15 minutes of gameplay for like 3 hours of nausea. I'm like, it's just not worth it.
And some of that comes down to the screen resolution,
Right.
the refresh rate of the screen.
And I got shitty eyes.
and things like that.
All three of us got glasses.
So
Yes.
they're doing a lot to to remedy that, but also actually, the more you play VR, the more your brain understands you're doing something where it's not needing to signal the nausea in your body.
Just ride all the rides at Universal.
Yeah. So the more you play it, the more you get used to it. But
Xanax.
also updating the hardware to be better specs will also alleviate a lot of that as well. It's also the way to design the games. So people that get nauseous with the games where you're walking around tend to not have issues if you're playing a game where you're in a vehicle. Okay. Because your body is used to seeing the way it looks from in a vehicle. So it's also the games you're picking to play.
Might as well get used to it because that's the future.
With the hardware that's behind the PlayStation and the hardware they're looking to do with the headset, that's the thing I'm looking forward the most. And they're supposedly at the end of the year is when they're looking to release it.
Okay.
We'll see what the delays and things like that do and whether they have enough games to warrant getting it. But
you're excited for it.
That's what I'm looking forward to. Some competition, especially against Oculus, to really push VR further.
Ian, what about you? What are you looking forward to?
2022. We were talking about it since I got here. I think it's as opposed to all the problems with Boba Fett. I think this one hit everything right. I when I first saw the trailer for this, I didn't know how to feel about it. I was like, oh, is this going to be a stinker? Blah blah. HBO Max's new breakout show. I think that Peacemaker is
hell yeah.
Peacemaker did everything right. John Cena is absolutely fantastic as that character, building off the new Suicide Squad movie. I think he's hilarious. He's his fucking real life proportions are almost comical. How fucking big he looks in that.
And they even because I watched about half of the first episode, but my daughter kept walking into the room, and I got to the one scene, and I'm like, all right, you need to turn this off. You are not behaving. You need to go to your room because this is not for you.
No. The Peacemaker is great adult entertainment done right.
Hilarious.
And I like John Cena when he plays a tool. I think his whole look, his whole aesthetic, he sells I am a tool.
His racist father.
Oh, yes.
And I
Super
think
racist.
I think the supporting cast is great too. The supporting cast in the
fantastic.
show is doing a really good job.
I thought it was supposed to be a prequel, and it's not. So that I'm happy about because you do have the ability to keep telling more stories.
It's like, I got shot in the neck, but I did.
Now, the only problem that I have with it, and it's a small one, is that James Gunn may not be around to do more because I know he's been very vocal about not wanting to really be into the whole universe, even though what he's doing is the best parts of the universe.
I think he's
I like how they're bringing the Marvel guys over to save DC.
He's one of the directors where he's very much, if I don't have the story to tell, if I can't see the story in my head, I'm not going to do the thing.
And he did very smartly start recording Peacemaker right after the Suicide Squad.
Immediately after.
He's like, look, if we're going to do this, then we're going to do it now. And so the timing was right, too, because the Suicide Squad was still fresh in a lot of people's brains. And then he took the storyline, jumped right into it. And the little guy in one of the episodes,
Judo Master.
He's the best. The hot Cheeto scene, I won't spoil it, but the hot Cheeto scene, fucking great.
Oh, dude.
He's like, are those hot Cheetos?
Yeah. No, the comedy is really like you laugh yourself, you almost piss yourself. It's fantastic. It was so well done. The action is great.
Yeah.
Like, it's a character I don't even know much about.
Me neither.
But I am completely invested in it.
Yeah.
It's almost hilarious. Like, his best friend is an eagle.
Yeah.
Named Eagly.
Look, Dad, he's hugging me.
The fact that the eagle hugged him and his dad walked away was great. He's like, take a picture. I don't want to move.
Everything in that show is so fantastic.
Yeah.
I literally cannot wait for the next episode. It was done so well. Okay. I'm hooked. That's my most anticipated thing.
I love it. All right, so for me, we'll end it with this. Is my most anticipated moment of 2022 is going to be when the Book of Boba Fett fucking ends. Ed, cue the music. Thank you for joining us at the Sofa Kingdom podcast. You can find us on all your social media platforms on
Sofa Kingdom OFC.
And you can find us on YouTube.
Sofa Kingdom Podcast.
So if you want to see Ian's flowing hair, Ed's fantastic hat, and all of the latest rock gear from Project Rock.
Tune in, like, subscribe, share. It makes a difference on our part, you know?
Woo!
We appreciate
Actually,
you.
I'm going to tell you before this ends, I'm actually really looking forward to She-Hulk and Moon Knight. I'm looking forward to more installments of Marvel coming out.
And Batman with Robert Pattinson.
You know what? I'm even looking forward to that. Anything but the book.
You see the new
of
trailer
Boba
for
Fett.
Batman? There's a new trailer for Batman.
It looks
it
good.
looks great.
It looks good. Yeah, the one with
Yeah.
Catwoman in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
But they're
that
already
does look
saying
good.
that he doesn't want to move forward as Batman any longer.
Fuck.